Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window is considered one of the best films ever made. What makes it such a compelling experience is the way Hitchcock puts the viewer directly in the voyeur seat. It's not just Jimmy Stewart's character Jeff, who spies on his neighbors and stumbles upon one who's with less than noble intentions. We too are complicit in the gaze. Hitchcock's masterpiece has rightly been established as one of the greatest cinematic explorations of voyeurism. But just a few years after this pop cultural touchstone, another great film arrived that would similarly play with the psychology of how we watch, though from a very different perspective. Michael Powell's Peeping Tom.
He said you needn't photograph my face.
I want to.
Instead of Jimmy Stewart's flawed but heroic photographer, Peeping Tom's leading character is Mark, an aspiring filmmaker and serial killer. The entire movie plays with the gaze and point of view of Mark and his victims throughout, but one scene in particular examines the complexities of voyeurism from a truly unsettling standpoint. Mark shows Helen, his friendly and inquisitive neighbor, his screening room, marking an early and crucial turning point in the story.
What's that?
It's here that we begin to delve into Mark's emotionally charged and complex psyche. We, along with Helen, watch these home movies of his childhood spent as a guinea pig, psychological and behavioral studies of fear that his father filmed and that ultimately created lasting scars for Mark.
It's no good.
And like wheelchair-bound Jeff in Rear Window, Helen's questions and reactions to the images she sees on screen intentionally mimic those of the viewer.
Mark, what was he trying to do to you?
In this room, in this situation, we are Helen and she is us. As she discovers more about who Mark really is, so do we. Film scholar Scott Curtis has noted that Rear Window's fragmented and enclosed courtyards reveal themes of isolation and alienation. The same can be said for the dark room Mark shows Helen. Its appearance as a secret hideaway in a space detached from the rest of the world acts as a sort of metaphor for this socially awkward character. While used throughout the film, the use of a flashlight on the characters is especially effective in this scene. The audience is offered the point of view of the two characters. We feel the fear and discomfort of Helen when her vision is obscured, much like we do in Rear Window. But we are also given the opportunity to see the fear and trepidation on Helen's face and participate firsthand in Mark's own voyeurism as well as his own studies of fear. As Helen grows more uncomfortable watching the pictures on screen, Powell's editing grows more intense and rhythmically quicker, a technique we also witness in Rear Window. The pace of the editing builds tension and parallels Helen's increasing discomfort at watching any more film, as she demands that he shut off the projector.
Mark, switch it off!
It's as if seeing the camera pointed at her by the young Mark pushes her over the edge in the same way the sharp, shanked end of the camera leg terrifies his victims. For all the women Mark encounters, the presence of the camera starts out innocently enough, but as the terror becomes real, it evolves into a catalyst for their fear. As intense as Rear Window may be, Peeping Tom is even more disturbing because of the way it implicates the viewer in Mark's crimes. Hitchcock's camera is invisible. We see scenes primarily in point-of-view shots from Jeff's perspective. But Powell puts his camera front and center by making it not only a literal weapon of voyeurism, but also an explicit reference to our movie-going proclivities. So, not only are we, the audience, complicit in the gaze, but so is Powell himself, the filmmaker. It's not that every moviegoer is a potential serial killer. But unlike Rear Window's elegant investigation of someone else's crime, Peeping Tom makes uncomfortably clear the invasiveness of the camera and the queasy intimacy of the audience's gaze.